Some places feed on the space between hope and despair, growing fat on the exquisite torture of waiting. The pediatric wing's waiting room smelled like antiseptic and fear. Sarah clutched her purse tighter as she approached the reception desk, where a woman with tired eyes barely looked up from her computer screen. "Emma Chen for Dr. Martinez," Sarah said, her voice steadier than she felt. "We're for the test results." The receptionist clicked through screens, frowning slightly. "Yes, here we are. Please have a seat. The doctor will call you when she's ready." Sarah found an empty chair near the wall, surrounded by other parents who wore the same expression of barely contained anxiety. A father bounced a crying baby while scrolling through his phone. A mother sat perfectly still, staring at nothing, her knuckles white as she gripped a coffee cup that had long gone cold. The clock on the wall read 2:47 p.m. Emma's appointment had been at 2:30, but Sarah knew these things took time. She pulled out her phone and put it away. No point refreshing her email again. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead, occasionally flickering in a way that made her eyes water. She tried to focus on the magazines scattered across the low table, parenting tips and health advice that felt surreal when your 7-year-old daughter was having tests for something the doctor would name over the phone. "Mrs. Patterson?" A nurse appeared from behind frosted glass doors. "Dr. Kim will see you now." Sarah watched as another mother gathered her things with shaking hands and disappeared through the doors. She checked her phone. 5 more minutes had crawled by. She tried to distract herself by studying the other families. The man with the baby was still bouncing, still scrolling. The woman with the coffee cup hadn't moved. A teenage boy in the corner had his earbuds in, leg bouncing with nervous energy. The clock's minute hand jerked forward. 2:53. Sarah blinked. Had she been watching it? She could have sworn she'd seen it move backward for just a moment, like a hiccup in time itself. She shook her head. Stress was making her imagine things. Now serving number 47, the overhead speaker announced in a tinny voice. Sarah looked around. No one moved. No one seemed to have heard it at all. She checked her ticket. She didn't have a ticket. This wasn't that kind of waiting room. The man with the baby was talking to his wife now, having the same quiet conversation Sarah had overheard 20 minutes ago. The exact same words, the same worried gestures, the same reassuring nods. Her skin prickled. She looked at the clock again. 2:47 p.m. That couldn't be right. She'd been watching it count forward for minutes. Sarah pulled out her phone to check, but the screen was black, unresponsive. When had the battery died? Sarah pressed the power button on her phone repeatedly. Nothing. The battery had been at 60% when she arrived. She was certain of it. "Mrs. Patterson?" The same nurse appeared from the same doors. "Dr. Kim will see you now." But Mrs. Patterson was already gone. Sarah had watched her leave 15 minutes ago. Yet there she was. The mother was shaking hands, gathering her purse, and walking through the frosted doors again. The fluorescent lights flickered in the same pattern. 3 quick flashes, then steady. 3 quick flashes, then steady. Sarah counted. Every 47 seconds, exactly. She grabbed a magazine from the table. "Parents Today," the cover read. March 2023. She flipped it open, scanning the date on the inner page. March 2023. Then she blinked, and it read February 2023. Blinked again. March 2019. The pages felt wrong under her fingers, too smooth, like they'd been reset over and over again. Now serving number 47. The same announcement. The same tinny voice. Sarah looked around the room more carefully this time. The man with the baby was having the exact same conversation with his wife, word for word. The woman with the cold coffee hadn't moved a muscle, hadn't blinked. The teenage boy's leg bounced to the same rhythm. Up, down, pause. Up, down, pause. Sarah stood up abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor. The sound seemed to echo longer than it should. She walked toward the reception desk, but her legs felt heavy, like moving through thick water. "Excuse me," she said to the tired-eyed woman. "How long have I been waiting?" The receptionist looked up with the same expression as before. "I'm sorry. What was the name again?" "Emma Chen, for Dr. Martinez. I checked in at 2:30. "Let me look that up for you." The same clicking through screens. The same slight frown. "Yes, here we are. Please have a seat. The doctor will call you when she's ready." Sarah's mouth went dry. "But you just told me that." The woman's eyes never quite focused on Sarah's face. "I'm sorry." Sarah backed away from the desk, her heart hammering. She needed to leave. Get some air. Come back in a few minutes when her head was clearer. She turned toward the exit, but the hallway seemed longer than before. The walls stretched ahead of her, lined with the same motivational posters, the same hand sanitizer dispensers, the same donation boxes for children's charities. She walked faster, but the exit sign seemed to grow smaller instead of larger. Her footsteps echoed strangely, like they were coming from behind her instead of beneath her feet. When she turned around, she was facing the waiting room again. The same chairs, the same anxious families, the same clock reading 2:47 p.m. The man with the baby looked up at her and smiled. "First time waiting?" he asked kindly. Sarah stared at him. He'd been having that same conversation with his wife for how long now? "How long have you been here?" she whispered. His smile never wavered. "Not long. We got here at 2:30. Sarah's vision blurred at the edges. "What day is it?" The man tilted his head, still smiling that empty smile. "Tuesday, of course." "What Tuesday?" His smile faltered for just a moment, like a mask slipping. "The Tuesday we've always been waiting for." Sarah spun around, grabbing the woman with the coffee cup by the shoulders. "How long have you been here?" The coffee was still steaming. Fresh. Impossible. The woman's eyes were glassy, unfocused. "My daughter has pneumonia," she said in a monotone voice. "They're running tests. I'm waiting for results." "When did you get here?" "This morning. Or yesterday morning." Time feels funny when you're worried, doesn't it? Sarah released her and stumbled backward. The woman returned to her perfect stillness, staring at nothing, gripping her eternally hot coffee. The air in the room felt thick, syrupy. Every breath was an effort. Sarah could taste something metallic, like copper pennies and stale fear. The fluorescent lights weren't just flickering, they were pulsing, like a heartbeat, feeding off the anxiety that filled every corner of this place. "Mrs. Patterson?" The nurse appeared again. Always the same nurse. Always Mrs. Patterson, who would walk through those doors and never come back, only to be called again. Sarah ran toward the frosted doors, pushing past the startled nurse. The hallway beyond was wrong, too long, too narrow, lined with doors that all looked identical. She tried the first handle. Locked. Dario. The second. Locked. Dog. All of them locked. The walls seemed to breathe around her, expanding and contracting slightly, like she was inside something alive. Something that fed on the exquisite torture of waiting, of parents suspended between hope and devastation. She could hear it now, underneath the fluorescent hum in the recycled air, a sound like satisfaction, like something feeding, growing stronger with every moment of anticipatory terror, every parent imagining the worst while hoping for the best. "There's no need to run." The voice came from everywhere at once, not spoken, but felt, like pressure in her ears. "You're waiting. That's what you came here to do, what you'll always be doing." Sarah pressed her back against the wall. The paint was warm, pulse warm. "Let me go. Let us all go." "But you don't want to go. Not really, because going means knowing. And knowing means it might be bad news. Here in the waiting, there's still hope. There's still a chance everything will be fine." The truth hit her like ice water. The thing was right. Part of her, the terrified mother part, would rather wait forever than hear words that might destroy her world. "Emma needs me," she whispered. "Emma is fine. Emma has always been fine. The tests will show nothing wrong. But first, you have to wait. You have to feed the space between fear and relief. It's what you came here to do. It's what you came here to do. Sarah closed her eyes, feeling the weight of infinite waiting pressing down on her. When she opened them, she was back in the chair near the wall. The clock read 2:47 p.m. But now she could see the threads connecting everyone, gossamer strings of anxiety and love and terror, all leading to something that crouched in the corner where no one looked, growing fat on parental fear. Emma Chen? Sarah's head snapped up. A different nurse stood by the doors, younger, with kind eyes that actually focused. Realize, Dr. Martinez will see you now. Sarah stood on unsteady legs. The other families were still there, still trapped in their loops, but they felt distant now, like figures in a snow globe she was stepping out of. The hallway beyond the doors was normal, the right length, the right width. Dr. Martinez's office was exactly where it should be, warm and cluttered with children's drawings and medical journals. Mrs. Chen, please sit down. Dr. Martinez was a small woman with silver hair and laugh lines. I have Emma's results. Sarah's throat closed. This was it. The moment she'd been waiting for, or trying not to wait for. Everything looks completely normal, Dr. Martinez said, her smile genuine. The blood work is perfect. The scans show no abnormalities whatsoever. Emma is a healthy 7-year-old girl. The relief was so sudden and complete that Sarah started crying. Great, gulping sobs of gratitude and released tension. Thank you, she managed. Thank you so much. Dr. Martinez handed her tissues. I know how frightening it can be when we can't immediately explain symptoms, but sometimes kids just get sick and get better. Emma's fever broke. Her energy is back. She's fine. Sarah walked out of the office feeling like she was floating. The waiting room looked different now, smaller, brighter. Just a normal place where people waited for normal things. The man with the baby was reading to his child. The woman with the coffee was checking her phone. Everything was as it should be. She collected Emma from the children's area, where her daughter was coloring enthusiastically, completely recovered from whatever had worried them all. Mommy, look what I drew. Emma held up a picture of their family under a rainbow. It's beautiful, sweetheart. Sarah hugged her tight, breathing in the scent of her shampoo and crayons in childhood. They walked to the elevator together, Emma chattering about the other kids she'd met, about the books in the waiting area, about what she wanted for dinner. The elevator doors opened immediately. They stepped inside, and Sarah pressed the button for the ground floor. As the doors closed, she glimpsed the waiting room one last time. The clock still read 2:47 p.m. Dunch. Sarah blinked, but the doors were already shut. She must have misread it. Of course she had. They'd been up there for at least an hour. The elevator descended smoothly. Emma leaned against her, warm and solid and real. Everything was fine. Everything was perfect. Mommy, Emma said quietly as they reached the ground floor. Why did we go to the waiting room so many times? Sarah's blood turned to ice. What do you mean, sweetheart? I kept seeing you come back, like you forgot something, but you looked scared every time. The elevator doors opened onto the hospital lobby, bright with afternoon sunlight. Sarah took Emma's hand and stepped out, telling herself it didn't matter what her daughter thought she'd seen. But as they walked toward the exit, she couldn't shake the feeling that somewhere above them, a clock was still ticking, and someone was still waiting for news that would never come.